Welcome back, Year 11. It has been really lovely to see you over these last few days. We know that the last few weeks and months have not been easy. We appreciate that many of you have had different experiences of lockdown. Some of you have coped very well with remote learning. In fact, the attendance for Year 11 for live streaming lessons has been really excellent. But we also know that some of you have found this time challenging. We're therefore very pleased that you're back in school, where we can make sure that we can support you so that you can move on to the next stage of your education. You're all very much aware that with the cancellation of public exams this year, the government have asked schools and teachers to award you what is called teacher assessed grades. So we will be referring to these as tags, so they're teacher assessed grades. We know that there is a lot of anxiety around how these grades are awarded. We know that you may well be stressed about these next few weeks and months. But what I want to do is take the next few minutes to explain the process to you and remind you that in fact you are at the heart of this process. It is your knowledge, your skills, your understanding that we will be using to make sure that we can award you with grades where we can accurately say that this is the level that you would have achieved. The government have asked schools to use a range of evidence, to use assessments to look at the standard that you are performing at. So the next few weeks and months are absolutely crucial to make sure that you achieve the best thing that you can achieve in terms of these grades. There will be a results day. The results day for GCSE in Year 11 and BTEC is the 12th of August. And looking forward, we certainly will be celebrating your success on the 12th of August. So what I'm going to do now is just explain how this process works. So the teacher assessed grades will be based on evidence. They will be based on assessments that you will be carrying out as we move towards the next few months. You will, in fact, only be assessed on what you have been taught. This is not about catching you out. This is about making sure, because we know the amount of disruption there's been to your education, we know those topics and areas where you are confident on. We know your strengths. We know where there's been that face-to-face learning and consolidation. So we'll make sure that any assessments look at where you can show off your knowledge and understanding. We've been asked, under the guidance given by the Department for Education, to use the most recent assessments, as well, though, as any other valuable evidence we have to make that final judgment. So your grade is based on evidence where you have shown that you've reached particular grades and particular levels. And we won't just base your grade on one piece of evidence or one assessment. We will make sure we use a range of assessments. In terms of perhaps your concerns about how this grade will be put together and will it be fair, we will be using, as teachers always do, this is what we do all the time, we use assessments where we have past paper questions, we use exam board mark schemes so that we're all marking correctly, and we'll follow the guidance that's we're continuing to receive from the exam boards and from the government. Your teachers, we will all come together to make sure that the marks and grades for these assessments are accurate, they're consistent across the classes. We take part in what's called moderation to make sure that we're marking at the correct level. We're certainly not going to be using unduly harsh grade boundaries. We know that your education has been disrupted greatly from the previous year's cohort, so we will look carefully at making sure that our grades are fair. But we're also waiting upon more exam board feedback or guidance at the end of March, where there'll be very clear training for staff about which particular grades are to be awarded in which ways. So please be reassured that once your teachers have come up with your grades using the evidence, and we've made our holistic professional judgment looking at all the evidence we have, the lead teachers are in charge of the departments, and senior teachers, myself in particular, will be checking all of the grades to make sure that we're following the same standards for all the students. You'll also know before the grades are submitted what pieces of evidence have been used to make sure that we have these accurate teacher assessed grades for you. So in terms of a timescale, when this is going to take place. We're currently in our phase 1. We've welcomed you back from the 8th of March, and over these next few weeks until the end of this half term, your teachers are consolidating the learning that's taken place or has already taken place, whether it's lockdown learning or learning from the previous points in the year. There will be some subjects that we've already made it clear that they are going to assess you, and that's part of that consolidation so they can build up that evidence. There is absolutely no more teaching at this point because we want to make sure that we give you plenty of opportunities to learn your work, to strengthen your skills and your knowledge. After Easter, and Easter will be a really important time for you to be able to work on your learning, for you to revise for your assessments. A week or so after we return, after the Easter break, you'll be having an assessment week where every subject will have one paper. Now, in that one paper, and you'll certainly know before the end of this term what topics will be on that paper, we want to make sure that we give you the best opportunity to show off, as I said earlier on, your knowledge and your skills and your understanding. So you'll know in advance what to prepare for, what to revise for. And the questions that your teachers will use for your one assessment, we will have very clear mark schemes for, and will follow that same standardized approach to make sure that we are marking accurately. We will use that assessment information plus any other appropriate additional assessment information that might take place in the month of May to then to put together your final teacher assessed grades. And as you can see, that is largely going to take place in May. So by the end of May, we'll be in a position where we've used, as the government have asked us to, that range of evidence so that we can be really confident that we have got a grade that is accurate of your performance. Now, just going back for one moment to the assessment week. I know a lot of the times assessments do take place in classes, but in order to make sure, particularly where you're for the core subjects where all of you are sitting, whether it's English, Maths, Science, RE, assessments, etc., that it's really important we hold them in a large venue. That means that we can have the same paper at the same time, and that students are not either advantaged or disadvantaged by knowing the questions in advance or not, that everybody has fair access to those assessments. And in order to be able to do that in a really safe way, in order to be able to do that in a very open and fair and consistent way, we need to hold these assessments in our large venues. So those assessments will take place as you have been used to going into, for example, in December into the main hall or in the LRC, just so that they can take place at the same time. But remember, your evidence is going to be formed from all of these different types of assessments that will take place over these next few weeks and months, so that by the time we get to the end of May, we're in a really strong position to put forward grades for you that we know, as I said, accurately reflect your performance. So what I do just want to finish off with is really, again, to reassure you that we do know what we're doing. Last year, when we had to award grades, we awarded thousands and thousands of grades, and there wasn't a single Year 11 student who was upset with their grade, because they knew that we were fair, we were objective, we were open, and we were honest about the process. So in terms of what you should do over the next few days, certainly know that you can put your trust and faith in the staff here at this school. But what you can do is really remember that every day still counts. There is no need to look backwards now to what did or did not happen during remote learning and the lockdown. Let's get it right now. So the basics, let's make sure that we're in school every day with our correct equipment, with that real positive mentality that everything you do now will make a huge difference for you. We know the last few weeks have been challenging, and those routines need to be well established all over again. And what you have demonstrated to us, Year 11, is that over these last few weeks, and in fact this year of disruption, that you have adapted really well. You have developed amazing skills of resilience. You know, it has been tough for adults and young people alike, but you have got used to these changes and you're back in school again. And for many of you who I've spoken to already, I'm really pleased to be back. So let's get back into those routines where we are making sure our classwork is strong, we're completing our revision, we are preparing for our assessments, we're listening carefully to the teachers, we're following their advice. Remember, these are professional, experienced teachers who do this day in, day out. They look at your assessments, they mark them, they know the level and grade that you are at. So getting the basics right of being inside that classroom, helping yourself, helping your peers, helping the teacher to make the best assessment of you and your performance. Please don't forget, you did a huge amount of work last term on developing those revision strategies that work for you, effective revision strategies. We also saw some amazing mind maps and flashcards from your first mock series. So continue to use those really good strategies. Continue to use different online platforms like GCSE Pod, for example. Continue to test yourself using particular questions, because that's really going to help you in these next few weeks preparing for these assessments. And probably one of the most important things I can say to you, and we have had, as we all know, a difficult year, and therefore looking after yourself is critical. Your health is absolutely everything. And you've heard us say this, I know, so many times before, but sleeping at an appropriate time, eating well, making sure you're getting some fresh air will really help you and your well-being, because if you're in a good place, then you are likely to perform well in the assessments that are coming up. So I'm going to just finish off with this is called an infographic that the Ofqual Department of Education have published, just a simple way of reminding you what your grades are going to be based on, what evidence your teachers are collecting, when the results day is going to be. And I will have these posters up in your rooms in the next few, up in your tutor rooms in the next few days for you to refer to. But we will, as you know, communicate regularly with you, because there may well still be a number of details that are coming through or coming out from the exam boards and from the government about the awarding of your teacher assessed grade. So we will communicate this regularly with you through assemblies, through Google Classroom, tutor time, in lessons. Your parents are obviously an important part of working together with us, and we will keep them up to date. I write to them regularly, we'll email them, but we're also making sure for Year 11 and Year 13 that we have all of our information, particularly as new information comes out, in one particular place. So it's always there for you on the website, and there's a link to it there. So if you have any questions, certainly please feel free to ask your tutors, ask myself, ask Miss Nixon, your teachers. You may feel more comfortable in writing down some of your questions, and that can be passed on to us. But please, if you've got any questions, no matter how small or how big, please let us know, because the important thing is that we are all in this together. We absolutely can do this, and we will make sure that this road to success, that you are all on it, and that we will complete this year in a really positive way. So please, at any point you see me around the school, if you've got any questions, come and ask. But this is going to be a positive year, Year 11, and I look forward to working with you, with Miss Nixon, with Miss Winters, your teachers and tutors, to make sure that your tags are the best that they can be. Thank you.